F1 and watches go hand in hand. They have done so for decades. In this video, I'm going to tell you which team doesn't have a watch sponsor, along with which drivers wear what watches. You ready? Let's go. Watches are beautiful mechanical timepieces. Well, some are actually digital. But that aside, there are 9 teams sponsored by a watch company. The one that doesn't have a watch sponsor this year is Alfa Romeo. So why are watch companies so keen to get involved in this amazing sport? Well, of course, F1's all about glamour, it's about excitement, it's about timing and speed. These are things that go hand in hand with high-end watches. F1 has a huge audience worldwide, and watch companies are more than happy to shell out big bucks to get involved with the sport. So let's start off with the teams first, and I'll start off with the number 1 team, Mercedes-Benz. They're sponsored by IWC. Certainly both of their drivers wear IWC watches, and I'll go into what Valtteri and Lewis wear shortly, but IWC gets great mileage out of this sponsorship. Of course, I'm not sure about how much they're paying, but their logo is big on the front wing of the car. Their logo is also on the drivers' race suits. It's on their gloves, and other key people in the team also sport IWC watches. Red Bull, sponsored by TAG Heuer, have been sponsored by them since 2016. TAG's logo is on the front of the car and it blends in nicely with the colour scheme. Next up, McLaren. They're sponsored by Richard Mille, and these watches are at the very top when it comes to price. But did you know that McLaren was sponsored by TAG Heuer for some 30 years? And in fact, people who bought certain McLaren cars were even given a TAG watch when they bought their car. And what is the average cost of a Richard Mille? Around 183,000 Swiss francs, which is a fair outlay. And you'll see the Richard Mille logo on both the car and the driver's race suits. Alpine are sponsored by bell&ross. Now, both companies are French. Bell&ross were on board with Renault, and then it changed obviously to Alpine. The logo's featured on the car, and do both drivers wear bell&ross watches? No, they don't. Only one. Which one? I'll tell you when we get a bit deeper into this. I mentioned that Richard Mille sponsored McLaren. They also sponsor Ferrari. Last year, that was Hublot, but now Richard Mille is trying to get some sort of cornering of the market going here with 2 teams, and you'll see the Richard Mille logo on both drivers' suits and helmets, and also on the car. AlphaTauri has a watch sponsor. It's Casio Edifice. The logo appears on the car, and the watches are very well priced, under $1,000 US. Girard-Perregaux entered the market again. They had a break. They used to sponsor Ferrari from 94 to 04. Now they're back alongside Aston Martin. But I can't see their logo anywhere on the car or on the driver's suits. You might remember that Williams was sponsored by Oris watches for a while. They left. Now they have Bremont on board, another UK company. In fact, I don't think they're situated too far apart physically in England. And Williams would be happy to have them on board because for 2019 and 2020, they had no watch sponsor. And the 9th team to have a watch sponsor is Haas. Now, previously, they had Richard Mille, but Richard Mille jumped ship at the end of last year, and up until Monaco, they had no watch sponsor, but announced in Monaco that this company had taken up a sponsorship deal with Haas, and both drivers would be wearing their watches. And as I mentioned before, the 10th team, being Alfa Romeo, no watch sponsor this year. They previously had Richard Mille as well. If you're doing a group booking for, say, 7 people on an airline, and you put in 7 and it comes back at, I don't know, $500 per ticket, try going in and just buying 1 seat. Because bear in mind, airlines will often have seats at different prices. So they might have 3 left at $300, 1 at $400, and 2 at $500. So if you go and put in that you've got 6 or 7 people, it will give you the highest rate for all of those seats. Often you're better off booking those seats individually or in smaller numbers and then linking the bookings once you've booked. Could save you money. Let's go through drivers one by one. Lewis Hamilton almost always is wearing an IWC Big Pilot's watch. This watch is valued around 13,000 euros. And yes, this is a big watch. It's got a 47mm face and a very big winding crown. But I've also photographed Lewis in a gold big pilot's watch, and also in an Ingenua, which I believe was made especially for him. Valtteri will often wear an IWC big pilot's watch, but I've also spotted him in this model of late. And what I love about the sponsorship here is that IWC have gone and had a big pilot's watch put on both sets of drivers' gloves. Now, they're not the only team to do that. There is another team, and I'll run through that shortly for you. But great marketing, the fact that it's visible, and often from the camera that sits just behind the driver in the car. This year, both of the Red Bull drivers have been seen in a Tag Heuer F1 Quartz chronograph men's blue watch. These are around €1,500. Functional watch, not over the top price-wise in terms of luxury watches, but at the Monaco race, they were all wearing, and I'm talking not only the drivers, but even the women up on stage handing out the trophies, were wearing a version of the Tag Heuer Monaco. The McLaren drivers, Daniel Ricciardo is seen here wearing a 6702 Richard Mille in the McLaren colours. Daniel's teammate, Lando Norris, has been wearing a Richard Mille for a lot longer than Daniel. In 2019, he was wearing an RM 1103 McLaren automatic flyback chronograph with carbon TPT interlaced with orange quartz TPT, limited to 500 pieces, each one worth just shy of $200,000. But this year I've photographed Lando wearing this 6702 Richard Mille, which is a very popular watch. Now, I understand that these are produced just for Richard Mille ambassadors. And do the drivers own the watches? Some do, some don't. It depends on the sponsor's contract with the teams. Often they'll be just given the watches for the race weekend, and sometimes it's only just for post-race or post-quali, where there is this intense media interest, and just a shot of them with a watch on can lead to big sales the following week for the watchmaker. Let's move on to the Alpine drivers, and Esteban Ocon is seen here wearing a bell&ross RHED BR V3-94 RS19, a watch worth around €3,500. And Fernando Alonso, is he wearing a bell&ross because they sponsored the team? No, he's not. This surprised me a little bit, because when you see Fernando here wearing that watch and you see a few centimetres above that the logo of bell&ross, I think that's conflicting. But obviously that's an arrangement that's been struck between Fernando and the team. And there's no doubt that Fernando, being a big name, would have had a fair amount of pulling power. I couldn't see Yuki Tsunoda getting away with that sort of thing in his first year. But this watch was made especially for Fernando Alonso and is featured on the Richard Mille website. It's once again an RM 67-02. And there are still 3 more Richard Milles to go. 2 are worn by the drivers from Ferrari. Here's Carlos Sainz's 3502. This is the Rafa Nadal 2016 launch, no longer in production, retailed for around $155,000. It's now worth apparently just shy of $500,000. He's also worn this watch quite a bit, the RM 1101 Roberto Mancini, in titanium with special Italian strap. And then we come to Charles Leclerc, or Charles Leclerc, depending how you pronounce it. I've snapped him in a couple of different watches, both Richard Mille, and last year when Ferrari was sponsored by Hublot, Charles would wear a Hublot at the track, but off the track would often be spotted in this particular model. Once again, a 6702 automatic Charles Leclerc made especially for him. And the colours of the Monaco flag are on this watch. But F1, being such a rich sport, attracts the attention of billionaires and multi-millionaires who see these sort of things and think, hey, I would like to be like Fernando, like Charles. I'll go and grab myself one of those. And obviously, the marketing works, because these companies are paying big dollars to be seen on the cars, on the race suits, and their timepieces appearing on the drivers' wrists. Aston Martin signed a new contract with Gerard Perregaux this year, and as such both of their drivers are seen in the paddock and around the track wearing the company's watches. I've snapped Lance Stroll wearing this Neo Bridge 45mm diameter titanium case crocodile leather strap watch. This goes for around $26,500. But Seb's is only worth about $10K, the Laureato chronograph 42mm. Of course, if you're paying any more than $10 for a watch, you're not buying it to tell the time. These watches are all about image, how you want to be seen by others. Both of the AlphaTauri drivers wear Casio Edifice watches, and this model is the EQB 1000AT-1A. Not a terribly sexy name for it, but the company logo appears on the suits, the car, and even on the gloves. This is the second team to have watch faces on the gloves. And when you look closely at this watch, you can see it's got a very strong tie two Alpha Tauri, both with logo on the front and even on the back. And they're valued around $700 US. Both George Russell and Nicholas Latifi wear Bremont watches. This model here, it's worth just under $6,000 US. Let's move on to Haas now. And would you buy a Cirrus Klepsis? What is it? It's a watch. It's this watch in particular. I'd never heard of the company, but I guess that's why a company like Cirrus wants to get involved in F1, because it offers this worldwide opportunity to promote to an affluent audience, lots of people, and amongst them may well be a client or two. Well, hopefully a damn sight more than that for the money they're no doubt shelling out. But both drivers, Mick Schumacher and Nikita Mazepin, are wearing these watches. They're worth around 20,000 euros per watch. And that just leaves us with Alfa Romeo, who have no watch sponsor. But what are the drivers wearing? Well, Kimi's got his own watch, a Richard Mille. This is the RM5004 Tourbillon split seconds chronograph Kimi Räikkönen with the number 7 on the dial. Only 30 pieces were made, and they're worth over $1 million US each. That's a lot of money for a watch, isn't it? And Antonio Giovinazzi couldn't quite work it out. It's got a blue band on it. And I do know that in 2019 he was obviously wearing a Richard Mille because they were sponsoring them. But interestingly, he and one other driver wear their watches on their right hand. It's his teammate Kimi Räikkönen. But away from the track, I photographed Antonio Giovinazzi the other night at that fashion show in Monaco, and he was wearing a Rolex Milgauss. Fred Vassar, he also wears a Richard Mille, as does Roman Grosjean. And Roman actually wears it while he is racing. It is that light. Some of you might be thinking, what about Rolex? Who do they sponsor? Well, they don't sponsor any team. They sponsor Formula One. And as such, that's why you see their logo big at the track. But you will see plenty of people at the track wearing them. It just won't be any of the drivers. Jackie Stewart, an ambassador for Rolex, you'll see him wear it. And interestingly, his left shirt sleeve sits higher than the right, so his watch is always visible. Nico Rosberg, he's an ambassador for Rolex. Here he is wearing, what is this? This is the Rolex Hulk. Green face, green bezel. But what is the most revered Rolex watch? Certainly one of the hardest to get is a stainless steel Daytona in white or black face. This is the new model here, and I know this is the new model because I recently snared one from Kennedy's in Perth. That's the local Rolex distributor. Now, if you've ever tried to get one of these watches, you'll know they are very hard to get. You've got to have your name on a list for a while probably, have some sort of sway, be a good customer. And on Thursday, Media Day, at the last race in Baku, I was up near the castle and I get this text message come through and a price tag, this is in Australian dollars, with this simple comment, "You like?" So I responded immediately, yes, 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 and yes. And I'm thinking, is Marie showing me that just to taunt me, or has she got me one? Because I have my name on this list for some time. And she responded very quickly, and I was straight onto it. Got my sons down there to grab this highly sought after watch.
I'm in a Rolex store. Here, I'll show you this.
Oh, yeah?
That's beautiful.
That is lovely, mate. Absolutely lovely.
I get champagne.
That is beautiful. You've got your brother there.
Yeah, he's drinking champagne.
Please don't get any links taken out or touch it or wear it.
You beat 300 people to get this, so you better not flip it. We better not see it on Gumtree. I'll pass you to you boys. Congratulations. We'll have a champagne for you.
All right, mate.
Okay, bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, boys. Enjoy.
Thank you for my watch, Kim. Thank you for my watch.
But it's worth noting that this is about 12,000 euros. Second hand, they sell for more than double that here in Europe. I'm not going to flip it though, because I've got two others and I've had them for one for about 25 years, I think one for about 15. But of course I haven't seen the watch yet. It's sitting in my watch safe in Perth, and hopefully my bloody sons haven't taken lugs out of it and are wearing it. That is Watches of F1. Remember, you can find all of my images at prostarpics.com for personal and editorial use. My F1 driver photo books and new Kim Illman merchandise can be found on my website, kimillman.com. I will ask you to like this video by clicking the like button, subscribing if you haven't done so, and when you join up as a member, you get a whole host of benefits, including some free RAW images, which you photographers can go ahead and have a play with and edit. And for my best pics live from the track and all during the week, head to Instagram at Kim Illman. Thanks for watching and stay passionate. This year, Gerard Perregaux entered. Oh, can't talk, Natalie, just doing a video, and now you're going to be on it. That's my sister-in-law from Melbourne, and this is what she looks like, carrying a whole lot of kit around. This photo was taken back in Mexico.